Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Augment Business Analysis Skills with Specialized Certification. I am your host, Tiffany Iacolino, and I work on the marketing team here at IIBA. IIBA is an independent, not-for-profit professional association serving the global business analysis community, a recognized thought leader dedicated to elevating the discipline of business analysis. We provide our global community with relevant tools, resources, and networking opportunities. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question tab in your control panel. We will answer some of your questions at the end of the session as time permits. You can also find today's deck in the Handouts tab. Today's webinar recording will be available for a limited time on our IIBA Webinars archive page within 7 business days of the broadcast. I am here today with your speakers, Winton and Abhishek. Winton Myers is a co-founder, senior consultant, and course presenter at Viewpoint Training and Consulting, specializing in business analysis, business process management, business process modeling, and operations management. Abhishek is a seasoned IT professional with extensive experience in project management, business analysis, pre-sales, and account management. In 2011, he founded Tech Canvas, where he provides quality education to IT professionals. Today, our speakers will discuss the evolving roles of business analysis professionals. They will share how the adoption of Agile analysis has emerged new, in-demand roles for business professionals with the right experience, knowledge, and skill sets. We will open today's webinar with a quick poll. You can submit your responses using our voting tool in the control panel. The poll will open for approximately 1 minute. Our first poll question is, which profile most closely reflects your current role? And I'm launching the poll right now. I can see some answers coming in. Thank you. We'll give it another couple moments. Okay. So I think we've gotten the majority of you have placed your responses in the poll. Thank you for your responses. And it appears that most of our audience is in a business analyst role. And without further ado, please welcome Abhishek.
Thanks, Tiffany. Good morning and good evening to everyone who's attending today's webinar. Just give me 1 second, I'll share my screen. All right. So 15 minutes is I'm going to talk about the profession business analysis. What is the outlook for this profession? What are the trends? How the BA role is evolving? And how can you navigate through your career in business analysis in the COVID world as well as post-COVID world? I'm giving you some data about how COVID has affected the IT industry. But at the same time, there are certain things which are very valuable, which are coming out of the COVID crisis. So I'll start by looking at giving you some data points, which has come out from various surveys and studies. Starting with the first one. So LinkedIn is one of the professional networking websites, which lists business analysis as number 6 out of the total 15 top most needed skills in the industry today. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics for the 10-year forecast from 2018 to 2028 says that the business analysis profession will grow by 14% year on year. Another piece of data which I saw in one of the IIBA presentations is LinkedIn, the total number of professionals who have listed business analysis as one of the skills has grown from 17.8 million to 23.3 million in last 1 year. And over 9.8 million people are or are business analysts with business analyst as titles. So the community of business analysis has been growing over the years, especially in the last 1 decade. The growth has been very, very strong. Now, we can't see the growth of business analysis without understanding that IT industry is also growing, because business analysts are mostly employed by IT industry. And is the IT industry also growing? What is the forecast for the IT industry? So first piece of data comes from India by NASSCOM, which says that the digital workforce will grow by 30% till 2023 from the present level. The overall IT industry spend has been, by various organizations, has been $4.3 trillion, and out of which the application development and the deployment sector is growing at 11% CAGR. That's an IDC data. That means it's growing every year by 11%. So compared to the IT industry growth, which is at 3.6%, application dev and deployment is actually increasing even more rapidly. But having said that, we cannot ignore the fact that this year is going to be seriously impacted by COVID crisis. So what is the impact of the COVID crisis on the IT industry? So IDC again suggests that instead of a growth of 3.6%, it's going to be largely flat. That means there is no growth. But the good thing is that there is no negative growth for the industry, which is very, very positive. So now, considering COVID-19 is there, considering the outlook has been strong, we also need to look at what is driving the IT industry. What has changed over the years? What are the key factors which are making the IT industry grow? So if you look at the IT industry, we started by automating general processes. For example, financial accounting. In the late 50s and early 60s, a lot of financial accounting systems got automated. Then the era came to achieve efficiency in those processes which were automated earlier. Then came the period of the dot-com period, where a lot of consumer-focused websites came up. Now, the things which have been happening over the period had changed because of dramatic change in the technology platforms and the way technology is being used by the industry. So the first thing is, customer has become more demanding. If you look at the trend of the industry, Netflix and companies like Amazon, they have been actually spoiling the customer. They're providing better and better features. The moment customers get one feature, they demand for more. And that driving all the consumer focused companies. Same goes with the banking and financial services. They also want to acquire more customers. So they want to give better services, digital payments, new way of shopping. Everything is coming up from these companies. The second factor is the speed of execution. As you know about Nokia and many such companies, they didn't fail because they were weak as a company. They failed because they could not identify the trends existing in the world. Samsung, Apple, on the other hand, they identified what the customer wants. And now look at Apple. It's a $1 trillion company, much bigger than many countries in the world. So speed of execution has become so important that if you are not innovating, not delivering better services, you are going to sink. And both these factors basically come from the fact that companies need to understand what customer wants and how do they get it. They look at the customer feedbacks, they look at the insights from social media like Facebook, Twitter. So the analytics part is going to provide them that insight as to what the customer thinks about a particular service or a product. It's not just about the consumer focused companies. Look at what President Obama did for their campaign. They used Twitter analytics to understand what does the customer think or what does the voter think rather. So these factors, along with something called digital transformation, which is driving this entire IT industry. One very good example of digital transformation is look at Uber. Uber is the largest car rental company, but does not own a single car. Traditionally, car rental companies have been having a fleet of cars. They own cars. Larger the fleet, larger the car rental company. But Uber is having a business which does not have any cars physically owned by them. They run on a partnership model. This is a phenomenal example of digital or ultimately business transformation. These kind of trends are going to become more and more in the coming years. So, what does it mean for a business analyst? So, let's look at how business analysis as such is being used by the industry. So, you know about general business analysis. Anybody who enters the field of business analysis starts with general business analysis skills, capturing requirements, talking to the customer, using UML diagrams, creating process models. These are the general business analysis skills which you start with. Then over the years, people start gaining experience or expertise. So you start with gaining very basic skills and then you start gaining expertise. So you become an expert in a domain, be it banking or insurance or risk management, any of the industry segment. So you can become a domain subject matter expert, or you can be a little more vertical and become an expert in a product. For example, Salesforce. So you understand Salesforce, so you become an expert in Salesforce. So you are a product SME. Or you pick up a core banking product or a trading product or a capital markets product and you gain knowledge in that product and you become a product SME. But remember, these skills have a large or a long learning curve. The reward ratio is very high, but then it takes a lot of time for you to gain expertise. But the new trend, which I call as Business Analyst 2.0, is emerging because of whatever factors we have discussed earlier. Digital transformation, customer insights, the trend to innovate and deliver outputs or releases to the market quickly so that you get the feedback and do the next release. So by nature, as you can see, this requires an agile mindset. And data also suggests that agile is becoming more and more prevalent in the IT industry. In the state of the agile survey, which is done by version 1, and in the latest edition, which is 14th edition, 95% of the organizations say that they are using agile methodology or agile development approach, which also signifies that agile projects will be more in terms of numbers, and so the requirement for an agile BA will also increase. On the similar lines, you can see that specialized business analysis roles will be more prominent. The advantage for a BA is that these skills take lesser time to gain. You can quickly learn these skills in the period of 3 to 4 months and gain the advantage. You can keep upgrading yourself and growing in the industry. These include uh, business analyst in the data analytics projects, or business analyst in the robotic process automation projects, or in the cybersecurity projects, cloud computing projects. In all these sections where industry is really focusing heavily, business analysts are required. So with little bit of incremental knowledge, you can get into those high paying with shorter learning. Now, this means that the cross skilling and upskilling is something which we, as a business analyst professionals, we should always keep in mind. And that is also kind of supported by the data and the survey done by World Economic Forum, which says 54% of the professionals will need upskilling by 2022. The NASSCOM in India, they have come out with the data saying more than 50%, which is exactly similar to World Economic Forum data. But this is more focused on India. By 2022, more than 50% of the people who are employed by the IT industry will require upskilling. For a business analyst, what is upskilling? Upskilling, or we can call it cross-skilling, is in the fields of agile, cybersecurity, data analysis, cloud computing. These are the skills which are going to give you much better. Now, let me give you a few examples which we have experienced as an organization in this year, 2020, the last 4 or 5 months. Two very large companies in India. One of them is actually an MNC. They have gone ahead and asked more than entire group of 40 employees to go and get certified on agile business analysis, funded by the company. Name the company is Virtuoso. Another company for which I can't reveal the name right now, they have also asked its entire unit to go and get certified on agile business analysis. The third example, one of the largest tire manufacturing company called Michelin. We recently completed one training with Michelin, and there they have collected a team of people who were data scientists, who were supply chain experts, and some development team to get trained on business analysis skills and agile business analysis. Why? Because they feel that all these three sets of people are going to work on the future projects, which are going to be more driven by data and analysis. So all of these people who are going to talk to the customers, who are going to work on these multiple and frequent releases, they need to be well versed with these kind of skills. So the trend of organizations setting the standards, setting the expectations for employees is definitely back. There was a period in the industry when companies were not sponsoring the training programs for the employees. But now, with increased focus, increased competition, this is what we are seeing. So now I will hand it over to Winton to take it forward. Winton.
Hi, Hello, everybody. It's Winton Myers. I'm just getting my screen up so we can all share the screen. My topic today is specialized business analysis career paths. I have chosen two very high in-demand analysis career paths that are going to become major drivers for anybody who wants to expand their career in business analysis. The first one is Agile Analysis. Agile Analysis has grown significantly, and the IIBA 2019 Global Business Analysis Salary Survey reports that 71% of business analysts are practicing agile approaches. This percentage has grown quite dramatically from 2017, when 50% reported that they were in the practice of agile approaches. And then in 2018, it was 69%, and now it's gone to 71%, or in 2019. So job titles are starting to emerge now, which are different from what we had in traditional business analysis. So we're now getting job titles of Agile Business Analyst, Agile Analyst, and Agile Systems Analyst. I'm going to talk a bit about Agile and how business analysis and Agile fits together. But another very, very important trend is business analytics. And there's a high demand in business data analytics. 61% of business analysts reported in the same survey that they were involved in digital initiatives. 38% at this stage were specializing in business data analytics. This we will see a tremendous growth in the future. So we're now getting job titles where we're seeing specialist career paths emerging from people who had basic business analysis, such as business data analyst, analytics consultant, data analyst scientists, and quantitative analysts. So all of these are developing from what the traditional business analysis career was. So these two are very, very in-demand business analysis career paths to follow. I'm going to start with Agile Analysis. Agile Analysis is the practice of business analysis in an agile context with an agile mindset. Many people think of Agile as Agile software development, where it started, but Agile is a way of thinking, a way of working, and has a specific mindset. And it's very important for business analysts who are moving into the agile environment to understand what the agile mindset is. The business analysis body of knowledge defines business analysis as the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. So how does this fit in with the Agile definition, which also comes from the BA BOK? Agile is about having a flexible mindset embodied in a set of values and principles and exhibited by a variety of complementary practices. So Agile is not one specific framework. Essentially, Agile is a set of values and principles that enable huge benefits to be gained in a number of areas, which we will look at. And emerging from the Agile mindset, there's been a number of frameworks. So we're familiar with Scrum, Kanban, Extreme Programming. All of these are Agile frameworks, but are all based on a common set of values. The original Agile manifesto goes back to 2001, but these have been modified to some degree in the Agile extension to the business analysis body of knowledge. And there are now 7 principles that have been agreed on in the Agile extension. The one is see the whole. This is looking at the solution or the product in its context, seeing how it interacts and interfaces and adds value to the context in which it evolves. The second is think like a customer. The term customer in Agile refers to the person that gets the benefit of the system or the solution, but also the other stakeholders. So to think like a customer is very important. So you put yourselves in the mind of the customer and what does the customer want? Also analyze to determine what is valuable. The emphasis of Agile is to create value and to create value in the most efficient way. So to analyze what is valuable is very important, looking at it particularly from the customer perspective. Another principle of Agile is get real using examples. Now, Agile is very visual. It's much more visual than traditional documentation. And one of the Agile values is working software rather than documentation. So a lot of the deliverables of Agile are real, visual prototypes or visual ways of representation of the solution. Also, understand what is doable. This is particularly important in Agile because Agile is limited to delivering within time boxes. And to know what is doable within those time boxes is particularly important. So this is a very important principle. Also, collaboration and continuous improvement is important. Collaboration with all stakeholders is a very important concept in Agile. And to stimulate this collaboration is particularly important. And also to avoid waste, to focus on what really adds value and what adds value to the customer. So these principles, when applied, are often quite difficult to adapt to, particularly if you come from a more traditional background, where your job was mainly to write specifications in reams of documentation. So it's a change of mindset that's so important, and to adopt the principles and the mindset. How does this actually benefit organizations when we change this mindset? There are some statistics which were the 2019 IIBA corporate benchmark survey of organizations found that the 3 top influences of an Agile transformation were, first of all, faster time to act on new opportunities. So 77% of the respondents said they adopt Agile to get to the market faster or to develop a solution faster. Also, get higher customer satisfaction and retention. 63% of the respondents said that's what they wanted. So this is the customer focus that comes through. And then 62% said process efficiencies improvement. So Agile can do the value-adding part, it can do the speed part, and it can also do the efficiencies part. All of these adding together to a high level of adoption of Agile. Now, very often the question arises is how does business analysis or how do business analysts fit into Agile? the role of the business analyst is not clearly defined in Agile approaches. Although the Agile Manifesto, which was in 2001, makes no mention of business analysis, it echoes many of the business analysis key concepts that are stated in the business analysis body of knowledge. But Scrum is reported to be the most popular Agile approach, does not have a role for business analysts. So the three main roles in Scrum as a team, we have to, as business analysts, see how we fit in. So how does business analysis fit into, or how does business analysis fit into Agile? So let's have a look at that. First of all, the application of business analysis practices has now moved to not only just delivery of solutions in a quick and less wasteful way, but in the Agile extension to the business analysis body of knowledge, they have three horizons for business analysis, Agile analysis. The first is the strategy horizon. Now, again, a lot of strategy was developed with lots of documentation. The approach to strategy now is far more learning and feedback, and that is establishing goals, looking at what initiatives need to be developed to meet those goals, and then learning as these initiatives are implemented. So the Agile mindset can be applied to strategy, and techniques such as the product roadmap and visualization can be applied. The second area, or the second horizon, is the initiative horizon. This is where business analysts focus on specific initiatives that are delivering the strategy. And here you have initiatives relating to product development, solution development, process development. And the initiative part of Agile is particularly important because this is where a lot of the identification of stakeholders takes place and the elicitation of requirements. The core of the original Agile approach was at the delivery level. And at the delivery level, the fundamental principle was to deliver in iterations or in time boxes or in sprints, as is in the Scrum framework. So the delivery part of it is where the actual product is delivered, but without the strategy and the initiative part, with an Agile mindset, you're not going to get the benefit of the Agile principles as applied to delivery. Now, in the body of knowledge or in the Agile extension, there are quite a number of techniques, and these techniques can be applied at the different levels of these three horizons. But one important thing about Agile is that a lot of the terminology is different. So a business analyst needs to adapt from traditional business analysis terminology to the terminology that is in the body of knowledge. So that, for example, the techniques, personas, are representations of the needs of a particular segment of your market that you might be addressing, or a set of stakeholders. So the word personas has to be adopted in a lot of agile projects. One of the cores of agile techniques is user stories. Now, user stories are very lightweight means of expressing requirements, but they have three important components to them. They have who is the stakeholder, what is the need of the stakeholder, and also importantly, what value does the stakeholder want from that particular need being addressed. So stories, often abbreviated in projects with an agile emphasis to stories, is the core of how a requirement is carried through the various stages of development. And a lot revolves around how well those stories are formulated. Story maps are applicable at the initiative level, particularly because they put the stories together. So you have different levels of stories. And these different levels of stories might need to be decomposed to get to a story that has a size that can be implemented in the time frame of the time box or the iteration. So story decomposition and story elaboration are particularly important to get the story right and ready for development. And that is one of the biggest challenges, is to ensure that the story that is being developed is ready for development. So story decomposition breaks the bigger story into smaller stories, or it might elaborate a story to give more detail. And then backlog refinement, which is the responsibility of the product owner, is also important for the business analyst to contribute to ensure that the stories are ready. So Agile really plays an important role in quick development and will be a major growth path for the business analyst who wants to expand their career. I'll quickly go through the data analytics part. So what is business data analytics? Business data analytics is the practice of business analysis in support of business analytics initiatives. Business analytics is growing very rapidly because of digitization. So why is business data analytics important? Because it provides the principles and practices to explore and investigate business problems or opportunities through a course of scientific inquiry. The philosophy of business analytics is to look at objective business decision making and provide the necessary data for objective business decision making. And it does it through descriptive analytics, which answers the question, what has happened? Diagnostic analytics, which answers the question, why did a certain event occur? Predictive analytics, which is really where analytics is growing very strongly, answers the question is, what is likely to happen? And then prescriptive analytics, which answers the question, what should happen if we do? So we could try different scenarios. All of this comes from a highly skilled level of business analysis, because it's not just the technical aspect. So there are many technical aspects that we need to address. But starting with that is really the business aspect of identifying the research question. What information do we need to make a particular decision? In our business data analytics practices, sourcing of data becomes particularly important. Also, structuring of data so that when you've sourced it, it's quickly accessible. The one principle that I like in business analytics is single source of truth, which says that the source of data that we have must be clean and it must be available and it must be a single source. So one set of information for a customer, for example. We then analyze that data, and in data analytics, we also interpret and report results. There are many tools for this, but it's not the tools, it's getting the right results to answer the questions that we're asking, and then use results to influence business decision making, and then guide organization level strategy for business analytics. So business analytics is really very, very rapidly growing because there's a huge growth in data. And it's a matter of using that data effectively to support operational decisions, strategic decisions, and tactical decisions. And this is why data analytics as a profession is going to become very, very much in demand in the future. So I hope that's given you some insight into those very important areas of the two growth areas for business analysts.
Thank you, Winton. We are going to open up one more poll question now. And I'm just going to set that up right now. And our second poll question is, are you currently practicing agile approaches? And the poll is now open, and we will keep it open for approximately 1 minute to gather your answers. And this time I will share the results out with everybody because I'm not sure if you were able to see them with our first poll question. Okay, we've almost gotten everybody's votes. Just a few more seconds and I will then close the poll. Okay, the poll is now closed and I'm sharing the results. And thank you for voting. It appears that we have a 70% of our audience that responded with yes. So that is very interesting. We'll now share a little bit of information on specialized certifications. IIBA offers a suite of specialized certifications ranging from Agile to cybersecurity to support the evolving roles BAs play to deliver business value. On this slide, we have some information on IIBA's Agile Analysis Certification, the Certification in Business Data Analytics, and our newly launched Certificate in Cybersecurity Analysis. There's a lot of information on this slide, but detailed information about each of these certifications are available on iiba.com/certifications. Also available is our training and resources. IIBA endorses training providers globally to support the ongoing professional development of business analysis professionals. In fact, both of today's speakers, Winton and Abhishek, are both endorsed training providers. You can find a provider on our website under the professional development section. We have a full directory where you can search based on area to find a local provider or a global provider. For each of our certifications, we also have resources to help in the preparation. The Agile extension, which is now available in an interactive digital format, the Introduction to Business Data Analytics, both the practitioner and organizational view publications, as well as the cybersecurity e-learning resources available as a bundle with the exam or on its own. All of these, along with our other valuable tools and resources, are available on IIBA.org. Now we will open up the floor to our question and answer period to answer some questions from our audience. I welcome our attendees to send questions using the question tab in your control panel. So to start, our first question is, what are the top reasons organizations continue to adopt Agile practices? Winton, did you want to answer this one?
Yeah, Tiffany, thanks. The first important thing is that Agile has the focus of the customer in mind. So that is a reason why it's important to adopt Agile. The second one is that it has an efficiency element whereby solutions can be developed quickly and efficiently, which means that speed to market or speed to develop a particular solution is very important and is becoming a competitive advantage for organizations. And I think these are the reasons and the main reasons.
Thank you, Winton. Our second question is, which area of specialization do you anticipate more growth for? Agile or data analytics, or both, and why? Abhishek, did you want to answer that question?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Tiffany. So to understand that, I think we need to also look at as to what are the needs of the industry. So the growth will obviously come from what does the industry want. So as we discussed earlier, and as Winton has also mentioned, one of the focus areas has been to accelerate the software delivery so that we can release more frequently, get the customer feedbacks, and also manage the changes more efficiently. At the same time, we are also looking to increase the productivity. Now, all these factors which I'm mentioning definitely leads to an approach which is more agile in nature, because agile supports rapid and frequent delivery and taking changes so that the deliveries over a period of time can provide more value to the customer. So agile is definitely one area which is going to see a lot of growth. The second, which I would like to mention, is the cybersecurity. Now, why cybersecurity is coming up is because with more and more data being online, whether you're buying something or you are transacting with an enterprise, the data, everyone wants to have the data secure. Even if we are considering keeping our data on a cloud computing platform, whether you are investing in Salesforce, all of these requires your data to be completely safeguarded by cyber attacks. And in fact, to add to that, if you look at the COVID-19 scenario, as more and more people are going to work from home, as I mentioned earlier, the enterprises will be very worried that our data, which is used by the individuals at home, are safe. So as a customer, if I'm giving a project to an IT company, I want to make sure that even if the employees of this IT company are working from home, my data is not compromised at all costs. So IT companies and the customer together have to invest in making sure that the data is safeguarded. That will also lead to cybersecurity projects and more initiatives. And finally, on the data analytics side, because customer insights, everybody wants to understand how customers are reacting to our products and services. So we are investing more and more in analyzing data, whether it's Facebook data, LinkedIn data, or Twitter data, or any kind of social media data. That means the investment in analytics is going to increase, as is also supported by the data from CIO service of 2020, which says CIOs say that 47% of them or the companies are going to invest in data and business analytics, 39% in security and risk management, and 39% in customer experience. So that gives a glimpse of how companies are going to invest in the coming years. Yeah, Tiffany?
Thank you, Abhishek. That was a great answer. Next question. What is the best way to prepare for a specialized business analysis certification? Winton, did you want to answer that question?
Thanks, Tiffany. Yes, the best way to prepare for specialized business analysis certification is, first of all, one needs to have a good basic business analysis training and experience, and build on that basic business analysis and experience, and get experience in the area in which you feel that you have the best talent for. So if you want to become certified in Agile, there is the Agile certification examination at IIBA, which is excellent because it bridges the gap between business analysis and Agile approaches, but it doesn't substitute for the basics. So it's important to firstly do the basics and then build on the basics by means of training in the Agile extension of the business analysis body of knowledge, and then certifying in Agile analysis. That is the same with the business analytics. If that is the career that you want to go in, you need to have a good basic business analysis training with the necessary experience, and then build on that in the area of analytics, and then certify through the specialized business analytics certification.
Thank you, Winton. Our next question is, how long does it take to complete the necessary training for a course like Agile Analysis? Abhishek, did you want to answer that question?
Yeah, sure. So look at it from two angles. One is how much time the training will take, but also look at your own schedule, because all of us are working professionals. So how much time can you devote per week on preparing? So consider that on an average, you can possibly spend 8 to 10 hours a week. So generally, all these specialized certifications should take somewhere around 75 to, I will put a larger range depending on where you are at the moment. So if you are able to spend 10 hours per week, it should take around 8 to 10 weeks to complete the training as well as the preparation. Most of the training programs for these specialized certification are going to be somewhere around 16 hours to 24 hours. The CBAP and other certification programs are longer, but these are between 16 to 24. Tiffany?
Yes, sorry, my line was on mute still. Thank you very much for that answer. The next question that we have is, which industries tend to utilize Agile practices more? I think, Abhishek, did you want to answer that one as well?
Yeah, I can answer that. So, let me, there are two or three industries which we need to consider in terms of the industries which are better consumers or the leaders in terms of technology consumption. Traditionally, the banking, financial services, and insurance sector, primarily the financial services category of sectors, they're always the leaders in terms of technology. They have been innovators, and because right from the beginning they have been consumer focused or the customer focused. So in terms of offering better services, whether in terms of retail online banking or mobile banking, digital payments, they have always been leaders. So the adoption rate in these industries also quite good. The other industry which is also coming up is all the other consumer focused industries, like for example all the e-commerce companies, all the consumer product companies, whether the payment banks or wallets, all of these are consumer focused companies. These are two top sectors which invest in the IT. Along with that, of course, the technology companies themselves, as well as some of the professional services company, and in some countries, the government sector. But generally, government sectors are not that aggressive in terms of adoption of technology. They prefer to continue with the existing technology. Tiffany?
Thank you very much for that. And I think we have time to squeeze in one more question. This question says, whenever I look into opportunities in business analysis, I get to see CBAP preferred, though there are chances the organization is already in Agile. Have employers started to accept the interesting new certifications? So I guess employers are generally asking or preferring CBAP, and this question is asking, are I guess employers starting to recognize the Agile certification in your guys' experience or perspective? I'm not sure.
And also, just to add, as I mentioned, CBAP is definitely the gold standard for business analysis certification. So traditionally, CBAP has been very popular. But as I gave a couple of examples in terms of Virtuosa and one more company, they are asking, and not only asking, they are funding the certifications of a lot of its employees on Agile business analysis. So that means there is an acceptance of Agile business analysis certification in the organization. Virtuosa is a multinational, another company is a large Indian company. So even though CBAP is definitely the number one in terms of certification, a lot of acceptance is now on Agile business analysis.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And thank you to our audience for so many great questions. I believe we're almost at time here. So I just wanted to take this moment to thank a very special thank you to our presenters today. Abhishek is with Tech Canvas, and they're available online at www.techcanvas.com. And Winton Myers is available at www.viewpoint.ca.za with Viewpoint Training and Consulting. Thank you to our attendees once again, and we will do our best to answer all of your questions in a timely manner. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.